Last and helpful. You need to just walk out, make her run the meeting. She's so funny. She's so funny.
I have a rap.
You're live.
I am live? Okay. All right. Well, good evening, authority members, and good evening, staff, and good evening to everyone who might be watching, the thousands and thousands, maybe tens and tens. I'm going to call to order the MBTA. I have the wrong package in front of me, but the MBTA full authority meeting for Thursday, July 9th, 2026. Ms. Henderson, would you please call the roll?
Chair Randall.
Here.
Mayor Davis Younger.
Present.
Chairman McKay.
Here.
Chair Jefferson.
Here. Present.
Member Karen Turner.
Here.
Mayor Gaskins.
Here.
Councilmember Snyder.
Here virtually.
Mayor Mensing.
Here.
Mayor Reed.
Here.
Senator Boysko. Delegate Delaney. Delegate Sewell.
Here.
Mr. Harity.
Here.
Mr. Gribben. Mayor Burke. Here. Ms. McCool. Here. Ms. Hussein.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Authority members, I'm going to start with the consent agenda. The consent agenda is as follows. Approval of the June 11, 2026 meeting summary for the minutes. Approval of the standard project agreement SBA 2020-48-2. The City of Fairfax, Beenheim Boulevard Multimodal Improvement, formerly Old Lee Highway Multimodal Improvement Project. Approval of recommendations to reallocate Regional Surface Transportation Program, the RSTP funds for the City of the Falls Church. Approval of recommendations to reallocate congestion mitigation and air quality improvement, CMAC and Regional State Transportation, RSTP funds for the Virginia Railway Express. And the approval to reallocate Regional Surface Transportation Programs funds for the town of Leesburg. I make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made and seconded by Vice Chair Davis Younger. Discussion on the consent agenda. Yes, ma'am.
The item number 7, for some reason, I thought that was being taken off the consent agenda for the next meeting.
Would you like it off the consent agenda?
I don't particularly, but I thought that was what we were doing.
I hadn't heard. Mr. Lungi?
It's a separate issue, ma'am. This is a reality.
Not the one we did in there. Yeah.
Funding is not the issue we discussed. In the budget.
So it's okay to leave it on?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I'm sorry.
All right. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Have your unanimous vote for everyone who was in the room. We'll go to the first action item, is adoption of the 2026 to 2031 6-year program. Mayor Davis Younger, are you giving us? Are you doing this? Are you going? Okay. Do we need a presentation before the motion? Are we going straight to the motion?
Madam Chair, unless Mayor Davis Younger feels the presentation is needed, we will turn it.
It was very good presentation. The information is in your packet, Madam Chair. So I think we're ready. I can make the motion. I got one more section. I move on to Virginia Transportation Authority adoption of the FY 2026 to 2031 6-year program update as presented in your packet in the attached title Planning and Programming Committee recommendation.
Second. Motion made and seconded by Chair McKay. Discussion on that motion. Seeing none, all in favor please say aye.
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 Any opposed? That motion will pass unanimously for everyone who's in the room. Then item number 9, action item, adoption of resolution to submit Route 234 in Clover Hill Innovation Intersection Improvement to Project Smart Scale application. This would be in Prince William County?
Yes.
Yes. Where'd you go? Yes, okay. Is there any presentation or do you want a presentation, Chair Jeff?
I don't feel that I need to. I believe we work with the city of Manassas on this, so we are all clear.
Who wants to make a motion?
I'll make a motion. I move the authority approval of the attached resolution 26-01 in support of Route 234 and Clover Hill Road Innovative Intersection Improvements Project and authorize the Chief Executive Officer to submit the project for the Commonwealth of Virginia Smart Scale Prioritization Process.
Second.
Discussion, Mr. Chair Jefferson has made the motion, Mayor David Younger has seconded the motion, discussion on the motion.
Madam Chair, I just have
Ma'am.
one thing. I spoke with my folks on staff today, Chair, and I know that they are diligently working because there was a little bit of with homes being there and some easements and all of that. So they have assured me that they're working together. We appreciate the efforts that both sides have made, but especially with the county folks, working with us. Because it does affect a couple of homes in that area, not where we may have to go into some yards and all of that. So if you can just make sure that they keep working together, we really appreciate it. We really do. It's gonna be great for that area with the airport and everything that's happening there. So really grateful for the efforts.
If I may, Chair Randall. I think we can do that, but just for you.
I appreciate it. That's all that. Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Prince William County love, that's going on over here. Anything? Anything else? Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion will pass unanimously for everybody who's in the room. And then number 10 is the adoption of the support for smart scale applications from Northern Virginia jurisdictions. I will be happy to make that motion. However, before I do, let me ask, was there some changes in the smart scale programs this year that we should know about? Anything that happened differently?
Madam Chair, there were no substantive changes for this round of smart scale. And speaking to Secretary Donahue, he is amenable to making some changes, but the administration started when smart scale was already, this round was already underway. So he said, let's talk about it after this round is complete. However, in working with Mr. Gribben, who is not here tonight, Mr. Gribben, working with Mr. Minshew, our CTB members did submit some suggested
Wonderful.
changes to smart scale, and we plan to talk about it. Now, having said that, I do want to note, as it was told to me, and I don't know if Sarah, I don't want to put her on the spot, but I was told that there were no applications for transit projects from Northern Virginia for this round of smart scale. So we want to make sure that when we're talking about we're not getting our share, that we make sure we help ourselves.
Well, it's also possible that there were no rounds of funding because, because our staffs are busy and if the applications in the past haven't yielded any fruit.
That is true. It's a slippery slope.
But I understand what you're saying. You're saying keep going anyway.
Keep going anyway.
I got you. I understand what you're saying. All right. I move the authority approve the attached resolution 26-02 in support of the project applications from member jurisdictions and agencies of the Commonwealth of Virginia Smart Scale Prioritization Process.
Second.
Motion made and seconded by Chairman McKay. Discussion on the motion. The only thing I would say is we do. And truthfully, the authority does, and I'm going to encourage all, especially Northern Virginia localities, that have a population over, I don't know, 100,000 people, to be really involved in this, because if we could just go back to what smart scale was meant to be when it started, that in itself would be helpful.
Good.
It really would. But if we're past that, then let's at least make sure that we lean into whatever they're going to do next. And if Secretary Donahue is asking for feedback, let's make sure he gets that from us. So
I have a question.
Yes,
What's the
ma'am.
yellow? What does the yellow mean?
Those are the projects that we already have turned up.
The yellow highlights are the projects that are on corridors of
They were
statewide significance, and the smart scale specifically requires regional support for those projects.
Okay, thank you.
So we recommend endorsing and supporting all of them, but for those projects, they require our support via resolution.
all right. I made the motion, seconded by Chairman McKay. All people say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Wonderful. That motion will pass unanimously by everybody who's in the room. Let's go to the discussion items. The Planning and Programming Committee report. Would you like to do anything with that, Mayor David Younger?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It is in your packet for review. And this 6-year update was provided at our last meeting on that on June 18th. So any information is included in your packet.
Feels like this is the last meeting before August break. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. August breaks around the corner and let's get it going. That was okay. Okay,
That's what's
wonderful.
happening. Yes.
I'm sure everyone has read this. Anybody have any other questions? Staff, do you have anything you want to add? No. Okay, seeing none, we will go to Mayor Colbert. Oh, no, not
In the
here.
packet.
In the package. The TAC committee, anything? Also in the packet. Okay, we'll go to the CEO report, Ms. Backman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to highlight a few things. Some of this is not in the CEO report, but as you all are aware, we are in the process, the beginning stages of the transaction update. Transaction, just as a reminder, we update it every 5, or I should say you adopt it every 5 years. For staff, it's more like a every 2 to 2.5 year process. The current transaction plan was adopted December of 2022. The update we're working on now, it is projected to be adopted December of 2027. Transaction is important because legally we can only fund with the 70% projects that are in the long range transportation plan, which is transaction. If you have not seen it, we've been out for public opinions, if you will, and doing open houses and hitting up some of the community events to just get perceptions and feedback regarding how commuters and citizens would like to see the region looking ahead, because transaction does have a 25-year horizon. We will be hosting an open house on July 23rd from 6 to 8 p.m. Here at the MBTA. And we have an online survey that is open, and the deadline to complete this survey is August the 9th. We've shared this information with our jurisdictional and agency partners, and if you could publicize it, we will send it to you as well. So we appreciate that. Additionally, getting to the BRT action plan, as you all are aware, I am going to your localities, giving an update on the BRT action plan. So for the 2 that I have presented to already, thank you very much. For those that I haven't yet, I do have you scheduled to set 1 locality out of the 9 jurisdictions. 1 we have yet to schedule with, so I will be following up with that member afterwards, but thank you. BRT action plan, it is not going to happen overnight, but the purpose of me talking to those jurisdictions and the agencies, because you adopted the action plan last July, is for you all to understand, your governing bodies to fully understand what we're trying to accomplish. Also, to get the components, we have 28 routes, 5 are already in various stages of development, and 1 is actually running operational. But to get the routes in your mobility plans, your transit plans, your comp plans, and align yourself for an opportunity to at least get 70% funding from us when we're ready, when you are ready for implementation. I will note, it's not our job to tell you about land use. We do not do that. You tell us. If we have identified a few routes in your locality, because I was asked this question, will we prioritize? We're asking you to prioritize and give us that level of feedback. So thank you very much on that. For some fun stuff, MBTA received 2 awards and we won a competition. I would like to say I was first place myself in the competition. I was not, it was staff, but we were awarded, I tried, I just could not keep up the way they kept up, but we were awarded, acknowledged being one of 2025 best workplaces for commuters. And I will say Virginia was #1 in the country and Canada. And we've asked that we.
So in the world.
Yes. Just take it there global. And MBTA did receive that acknowledgement. Also, we were acknowledged with the 2026 Commuter Connections Employer Award. So that was a big accomplishment for our team here. And we received the 2026 Go DMV Commuter Champions for small Virginia employers. This is one I tried. I just couldn't fill out the information as well as the team. So I do want to thank and acknowledge the team for doing that. And lastly,
Let's thank and acknowledge the team for doing that.
And lastly, we do have 3 new staff members who are on board. Johnny Kim, Johnny, just stand up and Hannah Thiesing, did I say it correctly, Hannah?
Yeah.
Thank you. And then we have Pete DeLuca. Johnny and Hannah are regional transportation planners, and Pete is our comms manager, which Abigail is extremely great. We're all appreciative, but I think Abigail is more appreciative than the rest of us. So, Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Well, thank you. I had all those things to say in my chair's comment, but you took them all.
Sorry,
My
my apologies.
only question is for the new employees, congratulations. Do any of you live in Laura or Leesburg? You didn't find somewhere. No, really, seriously. Okay, other business from DRPT?
Yes, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Sarah Hussain. I'm the Director of Northern Virginia Transit Programs at DRPT. The Director's report is in the packet, but I have a few updates that are not in the packet. Thank you. The Commonwealth budget has been approved and the FY 27 to 32 6-year improvement program has also been approved. Grant agreements are starting to roll out to the transit agencies and jurisdictions. So if they haven't seen it yet, they'll be seeing that soon. As always, DRPT staff is available for any questions, comments, issues, that sort of thing. The Transit Service Delivery Advisory Committee has finalized recommendations for the merit operating allocation updates and the updates to the TRIP program. DRPT is going to host a 45-day public comment period, and then after that, it goes to CTB for final approval. If it's approved, those updates will go into effect in the fall for FY 28 grant cycle. We've been working with transit agencies and jurisdictions on this for a very long time. And so everyone's kind of in the loop on that. Various studies and reports from the General Assembly are all underway. We're working with due dates in October, November, and December. We started engagements with stakeholders across Northern Virginia and across the entire state. Studies that are of importance to Northern Virginia are the TOD study, Nova Bus consolidation study, and then the labor bill regarding public-private wage benefit parity. DRPT staff is tracking proposed OMB changes on how federal grants are administered. We're working with APTA and other agencies on comments. There's concerns about administrative burdens, and nebulous guidance, guidance turning into regulation, that sort of thing. So we're tracking that. There's potential implications for DRPT and VDOT and grantees across the Commonwealth. And then the last thing on my list is I'm happy to announce that VRE received $25 million in build funds from USDOT to support station and track improvements at LaFont Plaza. Yes, that was announced yesterday. Today.
$1 million?
Yeah.
Wow.
Big project. All about. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
could, because I meant to do this part of my report and I apologize. Tonight is Keith Jasper's last authority meeting. Keith is retiring. Keith, was you one of the first employees or were you the first? Keith was technically the first NVTA employee when after HB 2313 was approved and the legal stuff. So I did want to give Keith a moment to say brief.
You can take all the time you want for that. Seriously, Mr. Jasper, I'm not kidding. Take all the time you want.
Really?
This is the short version. Madam Chair, members of the authority, first of all, congratulations on another 6-year program on the books. Definitely moving Northern Virginia forward from a transportation point of view. That's not part of my speech. As a baby boomer growing up in the United Kingdom, the 1960s shaped my pre-teen years. For those of you who were around then, black and white television, the Beatles, hippie culture, the summer of love, and of course, England won the 1966 World Cup. It's been 60 years of hurt. Maybe this time. The 1960s also began to influence my lifelong passion for transportation. A family trip to watch Boeing 747s landing at Heathrow Airport, Concorde, and who can forget Apollo 11 and Neil Armstrong's unforgettable words, "From the surface of the moon, that's one small step for a man, one giant leap for mankind." Inspired by these breathtaking aviation milestones and perhaps an early indicator of my desire for public service, as soon as I was old enough, I applied to be a pilot with the Royal Air Force. I was swiftly rejected by the Royal Air Force, and I lowered my horizons and instead began to focus on surface transportation. My first job was as a student engineer. I would say, as an aside, the organizational chart had me listed not as a student engineer because they didn't have enough space in the organizational chart, and they referred to me as a stud. Changed my entire life. But I began as a student engineer at the East Sussex County Council's Highway and Transportation Department. And as a student engineer, I would receive on-the-job training to gain experience in the main functions of the department. However, my rotation process ended abruptly when I landed in the transportation planning section. I knew I had found my passion, and I never looked back. I worked in the UK for 2 decades in both the public and private sectors. Some of my professional highlights, and some of these may sound familiar, included a groundbreaking bus network redesign incorporating elements of bus rapid transit, development of multimodal transportation options for congested corridors in London for the UK government, and utilizing automatic license plate readers to collect travel demand information, and subsequently as part of a real-time speed enforcement system to make construction work zones safer, which it did, it worked. It was that involvement with transportation technology in the UK that led Booz Allen and Hamilton to bring me to the US in the mid-90s as part of a new team evaluating civilian transportation deployments of defense technologies across the US on behalf of the Federal Highway Administration. And subsequent to this, I led a separate evaluation of similar transportation technology deployments across Southern California for Caltrans, the state DOT for California, an evaluation of FHWA's extensive transportation deployments in Atlanta during the 1996 Olympic and Paralympic Games, and development of technology deployments in Acadia, Yosemite, and Zion National Parks under an MOU between the US Department of Transportation and Department of Interior. When I left Booz Allen, I managed numerous transportation planning consulting assignments for government clients in Florida, Texas, Washington State, and in Chicago, all the while living in Northern Virginia. As satisfying as those projects were, the combined pressures of meeting chargeability targets, a hectic cross-country travel schedule, and missing my family were relentless. And coupled with that, my growing desire at that time to return to public service led me to rethink the trajectory of my career. So in early 2014, an opportunity popped up to be a program coordinator with an organization I'd never heard of, MBTA, right here in my own backyard. And the rest, as they say, is history. While 12 and a half years is not a long time to stay with one employer, it is the longest I've ever stayed with one employer. And I am so proud of MBTA's incredible advances and accomplishments in that time frame, from our tentative and highly scrutinized beginnings to the lean and mean team and nationally recognized organization we are today. Am I okay for time?
No, you're good. You're fine.
In addition to our work on transaction and multiple funding programs, as in this evening, including throughout COVID, where we didn't stop or miss a beat. Other satisfying achievements include our project dashboard, supercharged focus on project delivery, numerous transportation technology initiatives, expansion of in-house modeling and analytics, and as Ms. Backman just said, the Bus Rapid Transit Action Plan. Back in the 1960s, I could not have envisioned where my passion for transportation would take me or what that journey would look like. My career has been such an adventure, spanning 2 continents, more than 5 decades, groundbreaking assignments, and countless friendships. I am so happy that MBTA is the last stop on my journey. Thank you to the entire MBTA community, authority members, committee members, your staff, and many others that I've had the privilege to work with over the last 12 years. I'm grateful for this opportunity to serve Northern Virginians. Thank you to all my colleagues for our shared successes and for sharing the last part of my journey here at MBTA, especially the exceptionally talented members of our transportation planning and programming team. I'd like to end just by briefly mentioning 4 people. My wife, who may or may not be listening, depending on when she figured out my YouTube page, has also recently retired as a pre-K teacher in Reston, where she worked for more than 25 years, helping prepare a generation of local kids for K through 12 and beyond. My career would never have been possible without her support and sacrifices over more than 40 years. Second, sadly, although he's no longer with us, John Mason has an incredible vision to hire me to MBTA in 2014 and for a lot of other things as well. I hope I have met his expectations. Third, I'd like to mention Shri, number 3. He's been my right-hand man for the past 11 years. He knows MBTA inside out. He is respected not just by MBTA staff, your staff, but across the entire DC region and beyond. If there was a Transportation Planners Hall of Fame, Shri should be in it. And finally, to Ms. Backman, not just for being the best boss, but for being the great leader she is. Organizations like MBTA are only as good as the people they hire. But Monica's leadership ensures that the whole is so much more than the sum of the parts. Thank you, and I'll miss you all.
Jasper, that was amazing. And it's so interesting. We didn't know any of those things. So you and your wife are now both retiring and you're gonna do what?
I'm almost retired.
Okay.
This is his last authority meeting.
You're gonna go off and travel or look at other transportation systems around the world? What?
Certainly to experience travel. To experience travel, absolutely. To avoid congestion, absolutely. I would do my bit to help your cause by not traveling at peak times in Northern Virginia ever again. But no, we're actually going to go back to the UK the long way around as part of a once in a lifetime trip. We've never been to the Southern Hemisphere, and we have lots of family and friends in Australia, New Zealand. So going to do that and go to some other places which will be so culturally different to anything we've ever experienced before. Just what we can.
That sounds phenomenal. That sounds amazing and well deserved. Take lots of pictures. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And I will say, you've always been 1, knowledgeable, 2, helpful, 3, kind, and 2, I like to listen to you talk.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I can't top that, so I do not have any chair comments, because I can't top that. That was just lovely. We do have a, closed session tonight. We have the CEO review, and so what I'm going to do is, read us in the closed session. And after we take the motion for closed session, and somebody tell me what time it is, so I know. 7:35, okay. Then everyone who is not an authority member has to vacate the room. And Mr. Longy, I have your number if I need it. So I move the Northern Virginia Transportation Authority convene a closed meeting as authorized by Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711.A.1 for the purpose of discussion of a personnel matter involving the CEO's, Mr. Longy, I'm gonna say annual salary, car allowance, and performance review.
Okay.
Okay, all right, because I know that's part of it, all right. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded by Mayor Davis Younger. Discussion on the motion. All people please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes by everybody in the room. So we're going to closed session. Huh?
I have a
You have a presentation? You stay right there, man. Everybody's gonna be, okay.